live from the Export Beer Garden Studios. This is the Agenda podcast for Thursday, can't reach my phone, 11th of April.
The Agenda, an alternative commentary collective podcast.
For years, Matt Heath, I've ridiculed Jason Hoyt for writing only one note before every show, and the same note he writes down on paper with pen every single day is just today's date. And I always used to laugh at him, and now, unless I have my phone next to me, I can't remember it either. He and Matt Ward, not to just fire strays at Hoyt straight off the top of the podcast, but he and Matt Hoyt used to, he and Matt Ward used to have this ridiculous Groundhog Day ritual where Jace would come and grab a notepad, what he thought was a new notepad out of the stationery cupboard, write one note, and it was just, "G'day New Zealand, it's the 11th of April." And at the end of the day, he would leave that in the studio. Matt would rip the page off that he'd written on it and put it back in the stationery cupboard, and the next day, this whole thing would unfold again.
Yeah, well, as a guy that shares that same workstation as Jason Hoyt for a number of years, I didn't see that part, but there was always a pair of glasses left behind. At any given point, there was one pair of glasses and one pair of glasses without an arm.
Yeah. He used to come over to my desk because he would leave his glasses on my desk, and then he'd come over and look at my computer screen and put the glasses, his own glasses, off the desk onto his face and go, "Geez, that's good, Manaia. Whose are these?"
The other thing he used to do is, because he can't operate a computer, is I'd come in and he would have stuck notes. He would have sellotape notes that have been printed out over the screen, because he wasn't quite aware how that there's an impersonation, or I guess an avatar of a piece of paper within the screen that you can get, and you can store infinite amount of these bits of paper. That screen isn't like a music stand.
Yeah, and
there's things you can do with a computer.
He's got his hymn sheet taped to the front of it. One day I went in there, he's like, "Manaia, can you help me with this computer?" So yeah, I go in there, he's underneath the table holding a cable that's not plugged into anything. He's like, "Could this be the problem?" It's like, what?
Anyway,
sorry.
Hoyt, he's a classic. He's a legend. He's a great New Zealand dude. There's only one Jason Hoyt.
Yes. These are the things that make him such a legend as well. And he didn't deserve that stray straight off the top. But I guarantee you can't work his phone well enough to listen to this podcast. So I don't feel the repercussions. Got an allegation to level at you, Matt Heath, came through on the podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
Are the Pinot Wahs gentrifying rugby league?
I'm going to say, seeing as we're describing ourselves as an elite group of Warriors fans. I think it's safe to say that. But it used to always crack me up that Mike Hosking, those videos that his wife would put up, and he'd be sitting on that incredibly expensive couch beside a Louis Vuitton cushion, watching the Warriors with real passion, lean back with a glass of an expensive wine. I thought, is there any other Warriors fans like that? And, we're all trying to find our niche. And so I've decided to become another one of those. And Tony Street's jumped on board as well.
I see that.
Matt Gibbs joined me, although he wants to start the Wardenays. It is.
Yeah.
But it's a great juxtaposition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because everyone's trying to prove how grassroots and how down-to-earth Wahs they are. And you've got clearly elite people leaning on the up the Wahs.
Yeah.
And, they're
in movement.
In a $10,000 suit. So, if people are zigging, I'm zagging.
I think a lot of people were feeling hard done by the Pinot Wahs. That's really shot to the forefront of the discourse around the Warriors this week. And a lot of people were feeling like, you can't let us have anything. The Hoskings of the world, you get your sailing, you get your Formula One. You can't let us just have our grassroots blue-collar rugby league. Yeah, well, look, I just want to make it clear I don't make anywhere near the money that Mike Hosking makes. And so so you're grassroots Pinot Noir.
I'm grassroots.
You're blue collar Pinot Noir.
That's even stratified within the elite from top to bottom. That's what happens, with there's some people that are so posh in the UK that they look down on the royal family. The royal family aren't even at the Hosking level of the Pinot Noirs.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're the royal family.
Yeah, I'm the bottom dwellers of the Pinot Noirs. But yeah, terrible gentrification. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, there's been accusations that it's bordering on cultural appropriation.
Well, the problem for me going forward, and what I will always have is my days of putting $100 on the Warriors on the nose when they were losing, and I lost so much money doing that. So I've always got that.
Yes,
I've always got the receipts for how much money when I used to support the Warriors by putting $100 on the nose, and I thought maybe the league gods would help out. And as Di Henwood pointed to me at the time, this is 4 and 3 years ago, you got to look at the team. You can't be doing that just out of faith. You know what I mean? You got to look at the team, and we just didn't have the team at that point to be doing that.
No, the whole matter of faith thing is more about just supporting the boys than like putting yourself at like quite considerable financial risk.
Yeah.
So interesting. But you talked to Mitch Barnett this morning on the show.
Yeah, I did. We do this interesting thing on the Matt and Jerry show. We've been doing it for years, where the only time we can get Warriors interviews is when they're driving to training. So we talk to them at 6:10 in the morning, and that's a time when no one. They've just got out of bed and they're just, like if it's anything like me when I need to go to the gym, the time I'm most unhappy is when I'm getting off my ass to fucking go to the gym.
Yeah.
Because every fibre of my being goes, don't go to the gym.
I've always likened going to the gym as the exact opposite of going to KFC, because beforehand, going to the gym, you feel like shit, and then afterwards you feel amazing.
Yes.
KFC is the exact opposite. Beforehand, you're like, hoo, here we go. And then afterwards, like, ugh.
My God, that is such a good observation. It is so true, because I was leaving the gym yesterday, and I just felt like the greatest human being in the world. I just got a spring in my step. I've made myself do it.
The things you were stressing about beforehand, you're no longer stressing about?
Yeah, so when we talk to these Warriors, they're not often in the most talkative mood, but he was great. Mitchell Barnett, I sort of asked him if he was Simon Barnett's a relation. And
did he know who Simon Barnett was?
No, he didn't, and also their names are spelt different and such. But what we've discovered over the years, especially with interviews with Rocco Berry, is just play it straight, just run it straight. You don't bring any of your wacky breakfast show irony at them. It's too early in the morning.
Yeah, it is too early in the morning for someone who's about to do something quite serious.
Yeah.
Cannonball into other human beings at full tilt.
But there's the Aussies, and I was just asking him, as a Australian that comes over here, because one of the problems that we've had with the Warriors is getting Australians to move over here.
Yeah, big time.
Because they come here, they play games. Sometimes it's raining. It's in Penrose. It doesn't. If you're living on the Goldie or or just the wider Queensland area or
Bondi.
even Bondi.
Yeah.
We're the if you're on that side of the Burundi line, it's all pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. And even we were out talking to a few of the Warriors the other day, and Maaaarcelo Montoooya, he's Aussie as well, and he's like, when you come over here and play, you just go to the hotel, you fly into industrial South Auckland, you stay in a hotel out there, and then you drive through industrial Penrose to the ground, back to the hotel, and then home, and you're like, fuck that place.
Yeah, so I said to him, are you telling your mates back home, that it's awesome over here and it's great? And he goes, well, mate, to be honest, you come for a winning team. Warriors are a winning team. So what'll attract you doesn't matter where the games are playing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter anything else.
Yeah.
You come for a winning team, and the Warriors are a winning team, mate.
Win.
So people will come.
Yeah,
and I thought that's actually probably a really good point.
It's very true, particularly for rugby league, because I think in a lot of other sports, when you think about the American sports, there's a value in being the only good player on a shit team. You can do very well for yourself. You can't do that in rugby league.
No.
The good players all play on good teams, because if you're not getting the ball, if you're only scoring 6 points, like no one's looking at you being like, shit, this player's going well. Mitch Barnett's in State of Origin discussions this year, and that doesn't happen on a shit team no matter how good you are.
And Wade Egan.
Wade Egan. Yeah.
Wade Egan. Are we looking at it? So when was the last time we had a Warrior in State of O?
Jacob Lillyman in 2013, I want to say.
Do you reckon there's a possibility of two?
Two would be, if it's going to be two, it'll be Wade Egan and Kurt Capewell for Queensland.
Yeah.
Those would be the two, I would say. And then potentially Mitch Barnett. It's just the hard part for us as Kiwis with the who should be in the team debate is, I don't know, like, I didn't really know Wade Egan was from New South Wales. It's so hard to be like, oh, where's Mitch Barnett from? Oh, Dairy Farm and inland.
Yeah.
New South Wales, yeah. Okay.
Well, I've only just found out that Byron Bay isn't in Queensland. That blew my mind. That's in New South Wales.
Yeah.
Hey, so, I guess that's... Is there any talk going on? Because briefly there seemed to be some talk about maybe trying to do a State of O in Auckland at Eden Park.
Yeah, they always talk about this, particularly after we bailed the league out and kept it running throughout COVID, and they were like, we're going to pay the Kiwis back.
Yeah.
Every now and then an article will come out based off the back of Peter Volandis saying, yeah, we should have one in Auckland.
Yeah.
But it's never any more than that. And I think the league looks at how much money they make off, State of Origin in Sydney.
5 games.
Yeah, 5 games.
Bring
one of them over here.
The wider NRL might have a word or two to say about that.
The only way it would happen, first of all, unfortunately for Warriors fans, I think it would have to be at Eden Park.
Yeah.
It's double the capacity.
Oh, it would have to be.
And I think we forget that. And then the other thing is, because they go home and away, and then they go like a wild card. It'll be in Canberra
Yeah, to try and grow the game.
Northern Territories or something, yeah. So I think it would go gangbusters. What I would suggest is, and we've talked about moving the Super Rugby, what do they call that? Super Round down there.
Yeah.
Put it in Queenstown.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, you as an Aussie fan would love to go to Queenstown to watch State of Origin. Wouldn't that be sick?
You're going to have to build some huge...
Infrastructure's a problem, for sure.
There'd be some Cave Creek type stands down there.
Yeah.
We just need Peter V'landys to go, a state of O without Auckland is not state of
It's
O.
not State of Origin. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
On the Warriors as well, we've been asking for a while. We just feel like the chant game out of the Warriors is a little bit lacking.
Yeah.
And we've had quite a few of them come through. We've had Bunty Afoa, love you, Bunty, blah, 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 blah. I've forgotten how that one went. Bunty Afoa's out. We also had Oh Bunty Afoa, but again, 6 weeks with a hamstring strain. One came through now on Instagram from Stuart Orr. Says Seven Nation Army chant for Bunty Afoa. Why don't you guys do Maaaarcelo Montoooya to the tune of Seven Nation Army?
Maaaarcelo Montoooya. What the fuck are people doing?
It fits perfectly. Pretty much any name with 5 or 6 syllables he said will work. He also suggested perhaps, oh, chance nickel clocks that.
You've got to put the O at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maaaarcelo Montoooya, that is.
Maaaarcelo Montoooya. So I got my tickets for the game this weekend, which is
you
really,
do?
really messing up my whole Pinot Wahs thing, because I need to be sitting on a Chesterfield drinking a Pinot Noir at home when the game's on. But unfortunately, I've got tickets to the game, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be. And you can't get a
red wine at
You
the
can't
ground.
you can't get a red wine in a little plastic cup.
Oh, can you? I've
Yeah.
never even looked at them.
Yeah,
I'm straight to the whiskies and the bourbons.
yeah.
But let's get a bit of Maaaarcelo Montoooya going.
I'll try for where I am.
Yeah.
I'll try. If I just start.
I'm in the West Bank. I'm invading the West Bank.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
So,
I'll try from
so
up
if
there.
maybe I'll text you and we'll do a countdown. If we start it from 2 parts of the ground at the same time,
Yes.
then maybe we can get it going.
Text me a time signature and a key, and we'll.
And then we'll go. And then you, me, like total wounders, will stand up like little choir boys.
Yeah. Maaaarcelo Montoooya. I think it has to be if he scores a try.
Yeah.
That's our best opportunity to get it going.
And we've got to time it right. So you can't do it just after the try.
Because they'll play music.
You've got to let it settle. And then when everyone's G'd up with how excited they are,
Yeah.
then you go, Maaaarcelo Montoooya. We could start something.
Yeah.
Because Waisaki Naholo,
Yep. Hasn't played in 5 years.
yeah, he plays a different code. There's no point in singing Waisaki Naholo.
Maaaarcelo Montoooya fits
That
perfectly.
fucking pits, it's been right in front of us.
He also has all the hallmarks of I don't know why he's not more of a cult player. Like, I don't think he gets interviewed enough.
Yeah.
He's hilarious, and he has a game that lends itself to being a cult hero. He just runs hard as fuck every time he touches the ball.
Yeah.
Scores tries.
Yeah.
I think Maaaarcelo Montoooya could be good.
And Rick James Lesniak's back this week, isn't he?
He is back, yep.
Yeah.
So,
So,
few key...
Speaking of people that run it freaking hard with their tuck in their chin and run it back.
he loves it too. I was saying this at the podcast earlier this week, but he took a hit up a couple of weeks ago against the Knights, and I was sitting down quite close to the sideline, and he wound up to full tilt, and he actually got smashed in the tackle. But the crowd was going nuts as he was running the ball back, and when he got up, he was laughing, and the crowd was all cheering and yelling.
I know the particular one you're talking about. That's the one where he got his chin right down.
Yeah.
And and as much as I love it, I'm also like, God, they can see you coming and they're ready to absolutely smoke you when you get there,
Yeah.
and just don't get injured.
Nah. But
you got to run it back. You got to smack it up.
and also that's one of his talents is he can do that.
Yeah.
And get up and keep, and then half an hour later dive into the corner and finish with an acrobatic finish. That is his talent.
That's so beautiful.
It is. It's incredible. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and talk a bit more sport. The Eden Park debate. Well, not the Eden Park debate. I'd say the Auckland waterfront stadium debate has a month left before they have to make a decision. Have you seen the proposals that have come out around this?
Yeah.
They've got this big waterfront shenanigans that they're talking about making, and then I think the other option is that they just do up Eden Park, and that decision has to be made in the next month. What way do you think that one's going to go?
Well, I think, a couple of things here. One, from a pure sustainability case, you know, we talk about these things, and then to build a whole new stadium is not 100% great for the environment. And like as a person that has a property around Eden Park, I'm not just talking about my capital valley, my capital gain, but I've seen the way that they want to do the roof on Eden Park, and it's pretty freaking cool because they can do it while they're still building, while they're still playing games.
What? What's the plan with Eden Park? They just want to put a roof on it.
They put a roof on it, and they also make it so the stands slide back in, so it becomes a bigger cricket venue. So the bottom stands. You ever been to Etihad Stadium?
No.
So at Etihad Stadium, so the front row of the stands in the north and south stands, they retract right back in, so the boundary gets wider. So there's a bunch of things like that. So really, for Eden Park, it's a roof. It would be a pretty freaking spectacular stadium if they did that. I just think
I've never been to Eden Park and thought, fuck, I wish they had a roof though. That's not the key takeaway.
Wow, have you never been there when it's been absolutely fucking pissing with rain?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's a roof thing. Also, I think that it's just billion. There's so much more. We can't build stuff in New Zealand. It blows out by another $1 billion. Stadium downtown. I just think it's pie in the sky. I don't think it can happen. And if it did happen, it's not going to be finished for 5 years. Where the Eden Park one can be done in a year. We just have this dream stadium. It's all got all the infrastructure around Eden Parks. There's so many bars and pubs around there that just freaking fizz when it's happening. And I just don't want to enter a period of my life where something's on its way out and the other thing that's coming in. You just waste 5 years of something's just. I remember this with Carisbrook. You know, when they were going to shut down Carisbrook for the longest time. Yeah. And so it took so long to build Forsyth Bar that they just let Carisbrook turn into an absolute toilet.
Yeah.
And so you were going to watch games for so long in this absolute toilet as they let it go down. I just reckon do up Eden Park. You've spent so much money on it. We threw $380 million at it in 2011. We're not that rich a country to just be doing these kind of things. Take the cheaper option, do up Eden Park, pinging, let's get it going. It's got a good history. Let's do it.
Are you potentially in the pocket of Eden Park?
Massively.
I was going to say, you're quite invested in it.
Yeah, but
as someone who lives right next to it.
Yeah, I am invested in it. But also the thing is, I think we don't need another big stadium. What we need is a fucking kick-ass 10,000-seater stadium.
Well, I think that's what they're proposing on the waterfront. I think it was 15,000.
Yeah, no, but they're also proposing one at Western Springs. It's just like a tight little square just for football and rugby and league.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then the women's games have a decent crowd there. All the like the footy games can be there.
Yeah.
Just at Western Springs, I think that's a better idea. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth. And I'd say I love Eden Park. I bought a house near Eden Park because I love Eden Park. So
Yeah.
So I am, to be fair, fucking biased.
I think the waterfront idea would be way cooler. I just think it'll never happen. We can't get anything done in this country.
I mean, look at the City Rail network.
It's atrocious.
It's atrocious, and it keeps getting put back a couple of years. Meanwhile, every business in town is going out of fucking business while they're doing it.
Because no one could get there.
And then they announce it's going to cost, it started being $1.8 billion. It's now going to cost closer to $6 billion by the time it's finished. And now they've just announced it's going to cost us $250 million a year as a city to run it, even if it's at high capacity of people on it.
I can't understand how we don't have trains in every other country around the world figured trains out over 100 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. We did have trams. Every city in
Yeah.
New Zealand had trams everywhere, and they pulled them all out.
Christchurch still does.
Yeah.
In fact, Christchurch is the only one that still does.
Trams fucking rule. Go to Melbourne. Trams are great. We've just made terrible decisions. Terrible decisions over a long period of time. And you know, can you kind of see what I mean? Like, I hate when someone says there's something exciting and it's going to be, and then they go, how long? 8 years away. I'm like, oh, I don't know. AI will have killed us all in 3 years. Like, what are we doing? Shit will get off the pot now.
Putin's going to hit the nukes.
You live in the moment.
I think no one knows that more tthan Christchurch.
Although that Christchurch stadium, when we were driving by that the other day, shit, that looks good.
It does look good, eh?
I'm excited about that. Although as a Dunedin guy, I'm a little bit, I'm not happy about old fucking Forsyth Bar being cucked down there, and the superstars were unlikely to go, because you know the reason why Forsyth Bar gets the concerts because everyone drives in from Christchurch.
Yes, yeah.
But you know, a roof on a stadium in Christchurch is going to be fucking. It's going to go off.
Dunedin's been batting out of its crease in terms of superstar concerts for about a decade now.
I mean, admittedly, Elton John flies in from Sydney, lands, gets a fucking Uber from the airport, Uber comfort
Yeah.
and from the airport. And then as soon as the show's over, he's back out straight to the airport on his private jet and gone.
Could not have told you what town he was just in.
Yeah, when I was down there, I went down there to see Aerosmith a few years ago at Forsyth Bar Stadium. It was great. But landed at the airport and there was this really flash Jetstream,
Yeah.
Private jet that was
At Momona
hanging out
International.
like an old man's nappy at Momona International.
Just-
and you knew that the Aerosmith were in and out.
Yeah, with the distinct waft of cow shit wafting across the VIP.
I love that about Dunedin.
Yeah.
Why is it? You get off at an airport that's 4,000 miles around from the town that's on the ticket.
Yeah. And the road's not even like an actual highway. You've got to cross a train track. I think there's a cattle stop at one point. That's the best.
And you get off and you just hit by a waft of cow shit across the Maaaarcelos.
Yeah. Powerful stuff down there on the Strathclyde plain. The Olympics are happening this year, Matt Heath. We were just over in Paris last year. That's where they're going to be. And they have admitted, Paris, the organisers of Paris 2024, for the first time ever, that the triathlon events could potentially be postponed or even just become a duathlon for the first time in Olympic history because of pollution in the Seine River.
What's a duathlon?
I guess
Spielberg versus Ross from Friends.
Netanyahu versus...
Do you know what I'd say about this? And because when we were over there, you said it to me. You said it to me because you'd done one of those things where you read up your little facts before we go somewhere because you like to be educated. And you said, the Seine is so clean now, people are swimming in it for the first time. I remember you saying it.
Yeah, I think the guy just told me.
So someone's taken a shit in it since then, have they?
When they told me that, I was like,
I wouldn't swim in that.
fucking, yeah, I doubt it. I'm not swimming in
Like
that.
thousands of years of rotting corpses in there.
It's nowhere near the sea. So
No.
like, how clean could it possibly be?
Well, but one thing I would say about this is there's a pattern of news leading up to an Olympics game,
Right.
Olympics or Commonwealth Games, where they just come up with shit things about it. They run it down. Normally it's about infrastructure. They say the village isn't ready. There's actually three stories. The village isn't ready. The triathlon's only going to be a biathlon. And then they always do the story about how many condoms have been bought for the Olympic village.
That one's already done.
It sort of follows that pattern. So so the reporters search the whole thing, and then they find one potential bad story because once the Olympics start, it's all good news stories.
Yes.
So you have to run it down before it starts.
Yeah, so they've got a whole calendar.
Yeah, they've got a calendar. It runs like clockwork. And if that's all they can come up with is the problem for Paris, then I think it's going to be a pretty fucking good Olympics.
So right now we're in the red zone. They've done the condom one.
Yeah.
That's a funny one. Now they're into, here's how many Brazilian slaves were killed to make the Rio games go ahead. And then, yeah, you're right. In the weeks leading up, it's like, isn't it amazing? And then afterwards, they'll do the here's how much waste washed up in the Seine River.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It runs like clockwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen through the Matrix.
That's
there.
brilliant.
My point was, when like looking at that river, I was like, absolutely, I will not swim in that thing. That is disgusting.
Well, we had an opportunity to, and we didn't.
Yeah, well, we had many opportunities to.
Yeah,
And
and no point did we put on our bathers.
no, absolutely not. Track and field also is set to become the first.
Well, actually, just one
Yes.
question. So when we're in the canals, that's the same. That's different water than the Seine, isn't it?
Nah, that. I mean,
Because remember at one point we were having that drink,
yes,
and then that fucking massive weird dead fish floated by on its side.
yes, yeah, big mutant fish with 3 eyes. Well, this is, I think, actually where the debate heated up because we spent an afternoon on one of those canals, as you said, drinking wine, and we watched an entire school on like a field trip kayaking.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I wouldn't even let my kid in the kayak there. This water looks so foul that even a fish can't stand it. And died and floated to the top. So, yeah, I just couldn't believe that they were even considering swimming in there. Just jump in a pool.
Let alone our boy Hayden. Well, I was thinking,
Yeah.
when we were at the hot swimming spas, Blacklash.
Yeah.
What about just a bunch of those swimming on the spot?
Like
treadmill
the
pools.
Aqua treadmill situation.
Just measure their speed like that.
And then just tap them on the head when they've gone far enough.
Or
Yeah.
even put those on boats and float them down the Seine at the speed they would be generating themselves if they were actually in the water.
I've seen a boat with a pool on it, in my mind, is the biggest middle finger to God that I've ever seen, because it's like, oh, you've given us water to swim in, but I don't like that water, so I'm going to build a thing that I can float on that water, but I would like to swim, so I'll put my own water in this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can go fuck yourself, God. That's where we strayed from God's path. They're actually going to pay the track and field athletes. Did you see this? I didn't know that people didn't get paid for Olympic medals.
Well, it's full amateur,
Yeah.
generally. Not full amateur anymore because some of the teams allow professionals to play. But I was thinking about that because surely winning a gold, so it's the equivalent of 86,000 New Zealand dollars if you win a gold you get. So it's just the gold.
Do you mean in terms of endorsements and funding, or
No, this is just a straight payout of $86,000
from the government? From
the Olympic Committee. Which
oh right, sorry, yes.
So
it is now,
yeah. Which I don't know. I don't know if you'd be any more motivated to win a gold than an athlete already is to win a gold.
Nah.
But I guess in some countries you win a gold and then you become Caitlyn Jenner and you are everywhere and you have a whole career after it.
Yeah.
Although it might have been Bruce that won that. I'm not sure how you talk about that. But anyway, and sometimes you win a gold and no one cares. In New Zealand, if you win a gold, you might get a deal with the lamb, the beef and lamb board, and you get some money. So maybe Weet-Bix will come on board and you make some money. But there's not a lot of money in athletics. There's a whole path to making money in football, basketball, rugby. Everything. Some sports just don't have a path, and there's not necessarily a path to making money in athletics.
No, and I know that New Zealand sport doles out their funding based on how many medals you got in your various things. So I guess that's sort of a roundabout way that you do get paid for doing it. But I just never really thought. I just kind of always assumed that they got paid to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, like in a country like this, we know all our gold medal winners, don't we?
Yeah.
But mind you, what if you're, on the 8 that won like if you're in an 8, then everyone knows that the 8 won the medal, like a rowing 8, right?
I know and Hamish Bond was one of them.
Yeah, and someone bollock. Matt Butt.
But I don't know any of the rest of the butts or bollocks.
Yeah.
That were on that boat.
How fucking good would it be to have a gold medal?
Oh, it'd be incredible.
How quickly would I bring that up in a conversation when I met someone?
Well, I ran 2 half marathons within a month of each other about 4 years ago, and I haven't stopped talking about that. In fact, for a period there, it really annoyed my missus because every time I got up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet, the medals would jingle around my neck, and it would wake her up.
I tell the story in just a quick plug here in my book, Life Less Punishing by Matt Heath, which is out on the 28th of May, but you can pre-order it now.
Cut that out of the podcast.
13 Ways to Love the Life You've Got. I tell the story of Joseph Jury, when he ran a half marathon with me, and he went down, overheated over the finish line. They took him to, they cut all his clothes off.
I think it was wasn't he short of the finish line?
No, he got over. He got over. Although I was already off celebrating with some other people and didn't see him, even though we'd run together. But one of the best shots ever is him in hospital, and they've stripped him naked. They've got those little pads with wires coming off them everywhere. But they left his medal on. They left his finishing medal on it, even though he died across the line.
That is brilliant. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with yours, please.
Yours, please. Brought to you by Leader, home of the lasagna topper.
You know the drill. Microphone button, bottom right-hand corner of the iHeartRadio app. Caller, yours, please.
Good morning, lads. Just wondering if you guys are going to bring up the whole Hillary Barry, Jerry Wells on 7 Sharp the other night in regards to her muff. Certainly got to get Jerry Wells on the ACC podcast to talk about that one a bit further. That'd be very, very fucking funny. Cheers, lads.
I presume, Heath, you've litigated this on the Matt and Jerry show?
Yeah.
What happened?
Heavily. So, if I understand it, it's actually been probably the biggest post ever to the Matt and Jerry show Insta, if you want to go and look it up, or I'm sure you guys could copy it over to the ACC. So, Jerry, I've got actually a whole dossier. Actually, Adam, you can get that dossier. You probably get the dossier of the disgusting stuff that Jerry slips into 7 Sharp. He'll say pussy a lot. Everything. There's so much sexual stuff that he slipped in there, but he probably pushed it a little bit far when Hillary Barry's got this thing and she describes it as a muff, and then
is this white thing that I saw? Yeah, fondling it around. I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, you'd have to listen to it.
Is it a garment of some sort? Do you wear it? This big white fluffy thing?
Yeah. It's and anyway, basically what it is Jerry saying muff a lot on 7 Sharp. I mean, I could play the audio to you down the phone thing here. Yeah, if you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm ready.
Do you want to put your hands in my muff?
Hi, excuse me.
But the great thing is you could take it off. Mary Jane gave this to me. Thank you, Mary Jane. You could take it off and actually turn it into a muff. Keep your hands warm. Look at that. Handy.
I don't think that's appropriate, is it?
What do you mean?
A muff.
That's what they call them. You know, those old kind of Victorian days ones with the fur and things to keep the hands warm. It's called a muff. Do you think it's not called a muff?
I thought a muff was something else. Actually, speaking of muffs, Barbara Billiard next door
Are you
to us.
talking about what I'm talking about, though?
I think I know what you're talking about with the muff. She had a muff, but you've got to be careful. A loose muff, if around the steering wheel,
Yeah.
you've got to make sure it's a tight muff. A loose muff is a dangerous thing.
Yes, you can see what he's done there. He's operating as if he has never heard what. You know what? You can see what he's doing.
He's playing dumb.
He's playing dumb.
That would have made me flinch on the ACC coverage, let alone on
7
7 sharp.
Yeah.
I can imagine many a boomer clutching their pearls at that.
Yeah, I imagine there's been a few letters written in cursive writing on what's that kind of like see-through paper? It's called something type of pad.
Yeah, some sort of parchment.
Yeah.
Legal pad. I don't know. Well, anyway, that was absolutely disgusting. I still don't know what she was actually referring to.
I think she was referring to some people that put it's around the steering wheel. It's like a fluffy thing. Someone's standing that goes around the steering.
Is that a muff?
No, it's not a muff. I mean, that's the whole thing. The whole premise. It's based on faulty foundations. It's not a muff at all.
I don't know. Well, let's not lower this podcast to that sort of standard.
Yeah. The ACC doesn't operate in that kind of filth that 7 Sharp does.
No. Another caller here. Yours, please.
If all this dangerously bogan behaviour we see exhibited by NRL players, such as classy tats, haircuts, substance abuse, and an enthusiastic propensity for sexual misadventure, is coming from skilled bogans with well-paid, high-profile jobs, imagine what is going on out there in the shadows from the same breed of folks who don't have an NRL career to distract them. Now, this would be quite scary if it wasn't for the fact that, instead of worrying, we can just enjoy anticipating all the great social media coverage of these guys brawling drunkenly in the stands during Magic Round.
I don't really know what the...
So I guess what he's saying is that league superstars are bogans,
Yes.
highly skilled bogans.
Yeah, and
They're really well paid, and the way they behave.
Yeah.
He's talking about across Australia
Yeah.
and New Zealand. There are a lot of skilled bogans,
Yeah. Or a lot of unskilled bogans.
unskilled bogans that can do whatever they want
Yeah.
because, horror off season. There's no such thing as someone saying horror off season for league around those kind of bogans. So he's just thinking about the shocking things that everyday bogans, the shocking things like bubblers and such, and simulating sex acts with dogs that league players do.
Yeah.
Imagine what just everyday bogans do.
Yeah. I don't have to imagine. I know.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
But I think they're not held up. Like your average bogan isn't held up because I guess what they say league players have to, they're like heroes of the young.
Yeah.
Whereas your average bogan tradie that we hang out with is not a hero of anyone, not even their partners or themselves.
Well, maybe we should start holding up mechanics from Green Island as.
Okay, what I'm saying is if tonight we went out and G-Lane pissed in his own mouth,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be news. If it'd be news if he didn't. I guess that's what the guy's saying.
Breaking news: G-Lane does not piss in his own mouth on a night out on the piss.
Breaking news: G-Lane kept his pants on for an entire night.
Did not make one reference to his or anyone else's downstairs.
Didn't wrap his. It didn't say what's the time, and when you look down, he's wrapped his cock around your wrist.
Brilliant. One last thing I wanted to mop up. News Hub. Every time I open up some sort of news app, it's like News Hub's been sacked. Oh, no, they're back. Oh, no, they've been sacked. What's going on? They've been sacked?
I think they've actually been sacked now.
So they've properly been sacked. They've been sacked twice.
I tell you what media likes talking about is media, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when Freezing Works closed down, about the same amount of people lose their jobs. Freezing Works closed down. That's not the end of democracy. That's not a black day for everyone. There's not 4,000 articles, podcasts, news, everyone running around in circles. It's like those
It's a headline.
It's a headline. Burnside's closed down. And that's the last you hear about it.
Yeah.
When a few people in media lose their jobs, it's all the end of the fucking world, isn't it?
I know. Doesn't it sound like the end of the world? I was thinking, God, they might as well go around and put, the fire danger signs with the arrow. Might as well just go and put those outside every media company and just...
Chances of everyone losing their job today.
Yeah.
The ACC's been on high risk, highly flammable for about 3 years.
Yeah, there's been a full media ban outside the ACC studio for 10 years now. It's just like, do not talking to a microphone.
How annoying must it be? And like anyone losing their job, and there's lovely people involved in that. I don't mean to be flippant about it, at all.
And it's not their, yeah,
it's not their fault. They lost their job and all that kind of stuff. But how many people that is a serious sports reporter, it must be looking at? And so I'm out of a job.
Yeah.
But Manaia Stewart on the ACC is just going from strength to strength. With that particular sports reporter is doing really well for himself.
Yeah, and I'm just taking his stories without crediting him. And quite frankly, defaming and blaspheming all of the people that are working so hard to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Look, I don't make the rules. I don't, it's possible to do everything right and still have things go wrong for you. It's possible to do everything wrong and still get to do the Agenda podcast every day.
And who knows what'll happen tomorrow? Maybe this is just a big setup.
Oh yeah,
setup for a fall.
Yeah, no. I'm sweating just as much as anyone. All right, that'll do us for today, a Thursday episode. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Matt, Heath, and we'll be back tomorrow for a Friday episode of the Agenda podcast.
Bless.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.